Hey, thanks for joining me today. So I wanted to talk to you guys about the multi-unit properties. And then we're talking mostly about 2 to 4 unit properties that can be purchased with a VA loan. The intent is that you purchase it with your VA loan, which is a primary residence loan. And I wanted to talk about the 3 reasons why these properties go for sale. And sometimes it's a combination of 2 of the 3, and sometimes it's all 3. So the worst one to buy is when you're buying the seller's problems, right? And the 2 problems that the sellers create for themselves, and it's something that you should be conscious of and not fall a victim to on your own, is that they're not charging enough in rent. So you've got a place that has a 2-bedroom that should be renting for $2,800 a month here in San Diego, or $1,500 a month somewhere else, and they're instead renting it for $950 a month. And when I talk to the sellers of these properties, they're saying that they're doing something nice. They're keeping the housing affordable for the people that are in place. And I ask them a simple question. I say, hey, look, let's say that the market rent is $2,800 a month and you're charging $1,500 a month. Would you be willing to have those people move out of that property and rent it to somebody else at $2,800 a month, and then take $1,300 of that $2,800 and gift it to the person that moved out, and basically just put them on a pension of sorts? And of course, the answer is always no. and that's when I ask them, so why are you doing that? Because that's essentially what you're doing. You're giving them a $2,800 a month property for this $1,500 a month, and that's taking $1,300 a month out of your pocket. And it really, nobody's even giving you credit for doing it. It's basically between you and them. So you're not even like philanthropically benefiting in that way. It's just the one person, and what ends up happening is that person doesn't have a reason. Without their rents raising, they don't really have a reason to go out and innovate and get more training and get a higher paying job and plan to become homeowners themselves, which is, the gateway to the American dream. So you're keeping them out of homeownership. You're training them to be a problematic renter. And then the worst part is that it usually leads to the second set of problems that is created in these scenarios, that the sellers end up wanting to sell the property, which is deferred maintenance. So if you were getting the $1,300 a month extra, which is the market rent, you could easily afford $12,000, $15,000 worth of repairs. And instead, you're not getting that money, and you're allowing for this tenant to stay in there for a low rent. They're not going to bring you the problems. So this $50 problem becomes a $500 problem, becomes a $5,000 issue, while they're not going to tell you, because if they tell you, then it's going to cost you money. And then their $1,500, they're afraid, is going to go to $1,700. They're not even afraid of $2,800 at this point. So don't fall for that trap. If you're the owner of a 2 to 4 unit property, please do charge market rents, and please do take very good care of the property, because remember that the number one priority of you being the homeowner or the property owner in America is that you are responsible for that property. You're responsible to make sure that it's safe. You're responsible to make sure that it's maintained, and you're responsible to make sure that you have a good, well-performing tenant and it provides a enjoyable and quiet home. Now, let's get into the other part. The part that we want to buy from is when somebody passes away, then they have several heirs that are claiming to this inheritance. You can't just chop up the house and do that. They don't want to deal with the property management. They're looking at the monthlies like, oh, well, uncle or mom or dad passed away, and now I'm looking at $500 a month or $600 a month. I'd rather just have the $200,000 or the $400,000, which would be my share. Those are the properties that hopefully are rented at market rent or close, and they're also maintained really well. So we're looking for those. And the last third option that we have is when somebody has a property that's in disrepair, and they've let it go, and they've let all this deferred maintenance build up. They end up selling it. They sign with a wholesaler, and the wholesaler sell it to a flipper, and all of these people are making those monies, and then the flipper gets it, and he either does lipstick or he does the fixes correctly. You got to be careful about what flippers you're buying from. There are some really good acting flippers. Yesterday I coined a little bit of a term with one of my buyers here, that I said, look, not all flippers are bad, right? But all of the bad actors are flippers. So it's like, you have these flippers who are putting lipstick on a pig is a very popular term that's used when we're shopping around. And they are all flippers, but not all flippers are bad. So it's important that we go in, we take a look at it, and we realize if they, painted over problems or floored over problems or countertopped over problems, and just ignored the stuff that could lead to those $50, $500, $5,000 issues. So that's the big warning that I wanted to tell you. But in all reality, what you need to get from this video is, when you're shopping for a 2 to 4 unit property, please understand that you are being asked to buy somebody else's problem more times than not. And we got to find the ones that you're not going to buy the problems, or we have to negotiate the deal to reflect that you have a significant responsibility in bringing that deferred maintenance up to code or up to date. All right. So I hope this helps you in considering what properties to buy and what not to buy. Along these lines, if you do buy the problematic properties, there is value add opportunity, but it does matter how much you buy it for. So if you go in and you buy it for market rent, because it could rent for $2,800 a month per unit, but everybody's only paying $1,500 a month per unit, you have to only pay what's makes sense for you to only be getting that $1,500 a month from those units. Do not pay that seller as if they were a good owner. They weren't a good owner. At the end of the day, you have to be the highest bidder. So you just have to outperform the other buyers. And then you have to hit the mark where the seller is willing to sell. So if you can't find the spot that makes sense for you and the seller to move forward, and you've beat out all the other buyers, if you can't find that spot, it's okay. Go find another property. That's not the one for you. If you find the property that you just absolutely love and adore, and you want to take care of the property, you want to take the rents and bring them up, or you want to take the tenants and have them not renew their lease, and please go find another place to live, that's going to be a difficult issue, because if they're used to paying $1,500 for a 2-bedroom and they go out to the market and they see that all the other 2 bedrooms are $2,800, there's going to be delays in them getting out of that house. There's also things called cash for keys, where they'll come back to you and say, hey, I'll leave, but I need some money to leave. So I hope this helps. See you next time.